Hey guys, what's going on? Well, I'm just working on a Motormax CHP unit. This one I'm waiting for lights for, so I'll set that aside. But I'm just going to talk about a couple things here. I'm just learning how to do this, and nobody's ever, well, there have been a couple people that have helped me, but I wish there would be more people that would make videos that would kind of, you know, tell you. It's up on the tripod. If I loosen it, I suppose. But anyway, that would kind of give some pointers of what to do and what not to do. I've learned this from pretty much making mistakes on the first car that I've got, and I'm not even going to show you that. But on the Motormax car, the first thing I did, and hopefully all this is going to work out, I still don't know if it will or not. First thing to do is turn the car over. There's 2 screws here, 2 screws here, 2 screws here in the back. Make sure you save your screws. Put them in something like a clear jar or a parts bin that you know where these pieces are. And it's a good idea to have them sealed. These wheels aren't the original wheels. The wheels that came with them are actually, it's not in this one, not in this one, not in this one, wouldn't you know it? Very bottom. Okay. I'm waiting on some lights that are coming in, but these wheels these are the Ford wheels that came with the car. And what you can do is you can either paint these, mask this off in the circle and paint that, or you can order just these wheels right here, and I believe they're called dog wheels. They're aluminum. And what you do is you simply pull these off. You have to watch on the front because they get kind of weird. They've got a pin and a spindle on the inside. I'm not going to pull them off, but there's a pin and a spindle. Be careful when you remove these wheels, but they just pull off of the car. Be careful with the axles too. If the spindle and the pin comes off in the wheel, use a pair of needle nose pliers and get in there and grab a hold of the pin and kind of slowly work it out, because sometimes they can glue inside there. They can glue that spindle in, so be careful with it. This car I'm just getting started on, and I'm learning a few things, and I figured, well, I might as well kind of turn some people who are just starting. There are a few people who have seemed to like these videos, so I thought, well, might as well kind of share with you what I've learned. These doors are very, very, very fragile. They've got cheap pins here. I broke this one on this old car that I had right when I was getting ready to put it together. It had lights in and everything. I snapped that piece. You've got to be careful when you remove the doors. But the first thing you do is you remove those screws, you put the screws in a bin, you close the cover, then you take a heating element, which would be, well, let's go ahead and remove. What'll happen is you'll take it out like this. I'll go ahead and kind of show you how this goes together. Just kind of basically. But you've got your engine compartment. You slip it out. It's got two little pins here, so don't pull it out from the back. Pull it out, or pull it out from the back, not the front, because you don't want to snap those. It's right up against metal on the grill. So you remove that. The next thing you do, at least that I do, I'm just telling you what I'm doing, is remove the windshield. There's two pins right here. Come on, you. There's two pins right, 2 points right here. The windshield is somewhere in here. There we go. Because the windshield can get scratched. The rear windshield won't come out. Maybe you guys have a tip on that. If you do, let me know. But the windshield pops out. Remove that, actually even before you remove the engine compartment, remove this windshield and set it aside, because it'll be the very last thing that you put on once you get your lights in. Then on the inside, you've got your grill. Now they make different types of grills. They make some kind with mesh, a mesh coating. Very, very cool. But they're also about $8 plus shipping. Or you can get some that are, let's see if I've got them here. Oh, you can get some that are like this, that are just stock. You have to paint that blue. And if you can find a good paint pen, try and pick one up. But the ones that are, Motormax also makes these chrome ones. I'm not too crazy about the chrome, so I would, you know, if I had my choice, I would go with black instead of chrome. It's not too bad. They are, you know, they are molded, so these cars aren't perfect. None of them are, but you just got to do the best with what you got. You know, these cars do come with flaws. They're not perfect cars when you get them. But anyway, there are two tabs right here. And you slip it out. Let's see. Oh, my eyes just aren't as good as they used to be. I believe they go in just the opposite way. I think it goes in from the front. But you remove this. I'm not going to screw with this too much. You remove this. Okay. Remove the doors very carefully. Just the backs. Now, if you want to put something like a dog cage in, you can use mesh. Mesh works very good. You can also use a marker and a ruler, and you can draw bars on the windows. I suggest if you do that, you use a water-soluble ink, like a Visa V's pen, which is something that you use on transparencies that you can wipe clean if you screw it up, and then go over it with permanent once you have it, if you're just getting started at doing this. But the mesh looks pretty good by itself. People have bought that mesh, and the last fellow that bought it wrote me and he wanted some more. And I just told him, I said, look, there's this, all it is really is just drywall tape. You've got to, you know, I mean, it's pretty easy to come on. It's tacky on the back. But if you get a roll of drywall tape, you take it out, you spray it, whatever color you want, which is black usually. If you want to go with white or orange, I guess you could. But you can go ahead and do that, and you can apply it to the windows. They do make custom cages. Let's see here. Okay, once you've got the doors off, you remove the doors and you put them aside because you do not want to mess up. In fact, I'm going to set these completely in a different area. You want to get everything out of the way that you're not going to be working on. But the wheels, once you've got the tires off, or I mean the wheels off, you slip the tires off and you slip the new tires over. And they come on like this. So I mean, it's pretty basic. Just make sure that you don't put too much force on there and snap anything. It's not, it's difficult. It's not easy to do. The satellite, you can do two things with satellite things. This is a GPS antenna. And what this really is it is the dome light to the inside right here. That's where the dome goes, but you need to drill your holes. If you're not working on a slick top, you need to drill holes. The last car I didn't do that because it was a slick top, so I didn't come out with one of these. Now there are people on eBay who sell these, and they're not GPS antennas, they're just the dome light from the top that you have to remove in order to get the front lights in for the vector light bars, or for whatever light bar you're working with. And plus, once you remove, there's so many wires that go in here, you're going to want to remove this anyway, because I mean, it looks good on a car. You can also use, they're called bumpers and sliders, and those are just that. Go to Walmart, pick up some clear sliders, paint them black, paint them white, paint them gray, whatever color you want. And those are self-stick, so you don't have to super glue these things on. If you don't want to go with something that you're going to have to super glue and that is going to stay, or that you're going to super glue on, you can go that route. And you have to paint it, and you have to make sure that it's flawless. And I sold those before, but it got to be such a pain in the ass, because you can't get everyone perfect, and the ones you sell, people are going to bitch if it's not perfect. So I never had anybody complain, but at the same time, if you want to do it, just go and paint it yourself and use bumpers. Also, there are things called findings. In Walmart, they've got a jewelry section. In that jewelry section, they have these, let's see here, they have these pieces of wire here. Now those work best for antennas on a 1/24 scale. These wheels have actually been painted. I made a lot of mistakes on this car. I tried to glue this on first. You can't glue it on. It'll keep falling off and it'll drive you nuts. And the more that you get super glue on any kind of paint, the more it's going to look like shit. So the best thing to do is to take a small drill through the center. Use these findings if you're working on a 1/24, and you can make base load antennas. They're called findings. I don't know why they're called that, but that's what they're called. And you can get about 50 or 70 of them for, I don't know, less than $2. They've got a head on them like a nail. You slide them up through the, through where you're going to put your antenna. Then you take a piece of wire insulation, slide it over the antenna, pull up, then you can super glue it from the bottom, and do that before you put your lights in. Let's see, what else? Oh, when you go to take, you remove, be careful with this, because you can snap this when you put the car back together. But what I've done here is I've drilled one hole and I've run the wire through, and actually this will go all the way through here, and I've got some laptops that I picked up. Not sure where they are. Here they are. I've got to get over to that one anyway. Oh, I'm getting a headache. But anyway, you can pick up laptops that on eBay, or you can go to policecarmodels.com or someplace like that and pick them up. These are little laptops, and you simply glue them in to the car. You can buy on eBay, you can buy decals that will actually slide over and actually make this even look better, but I'm not really, I think it looks fine the way it is. But so you can also get a hold of, well, they make push bars, they make all kinds of different, policecarmodels.com I believe is the name of the place. If you want the 4-tone sirens, those cost about $13 shipped. At least that's what I can get them for, is $13 shipped. And there's a model train place that has them. Model train place of all places. But anyway, come on, camera. All right. So then what you want to do is you want to turn the car over, and using a soldering iron, heat these until you can lift this off. What you're doing is you're just melting the plastic. Do the same with the lights. And one thing I suggest that you do, by the way, Code, thanks for these things. I use these things all the time. You can go in, you can snip any thick piece of plastic from the back, and it will make these things easier to slide out. Then you carefully drill. I've got parking lights on this side. They're hard to fit in, but you can. The best lights that I can make are on the inside, and that seems to be what most of the general makers do. There are some custom guys that out here that really know what they're doing. I don't. I'm just learning, and it's a good, fun hobby. It's kind of a fun hobby. But anyway, you heat the ends up with your soldering tip, remove the pieces, and they'll come out like this. You'll have lenses and side pieces. You've got to drill through that. So you want to drill a hole where you're going to mount the lights. The headlights, you can leave one off and one on. I've gone ahead and I put the headlight back on. What you do is you use your soldering tip rather than glue on the outside. Use a soldering tip and heat that tab to melt it flush. You won't see it from the outside, but it'll be a lot cleaner and it'll look cleaner. If you're not really into doing that, you can glue it from the back side. They make this stuff called micro scale makes it. It's micro scale crystal clear. This is really good stuff. It's a milky white substance that's used for making models of panes on windows, things like that. It's clear, and it's a glue. Actually, it's an adhesive. So you can glue your parts together, and you can glue things on to clear plastic, and this dries clear. And while it's drying, you can take a wet wash rag or Q-tip and clean up any excess before it dries. So it's a really, really good thing. It does irregular surfaces. It takes a little while to harden. It tells you how to use it as an adhesive, and it is a good glue. And but it takes time to dry. Also takes forming small windows, so it is made for making. You can make small windows with it. It's about $3, $3.50. I'm sorry, but anyway. one other thing. This type, these are called hardcover 9-volt batteries. Don't get those cheap vinyl things, because anytime you go to pull off the head of a 9-volt battery, that plastic will start to get weak and it'll slide off of these tabs. And if you've got that wired up to a car that's already done, it's going to piss you off. So use the hard, go ahead, buy, you can buy for maybe, I don't know, $6-7. You can buy about 30, you know. And for a couple bucks, you know, you can probably buy about 5 or 6. Heat shrink is good. It's good for your wiring. And I suggest that you buy it. I don't suggest that you buy it at a hardware store. eBay's got the best prices on it. If you can find it US, find it US, because it does take a long time for, it takes a long time for stuff to come from Hong Kong. I'm waiting on lights right now, so I'm kind of stuck. But I had to get this car to the point where it's going to be ready when it does come. Tap switches. These are very cool and they're very good. And you can buy them for about $3 a piece, I think. 9-volt battery strap switch. It's got a strap and it's got the tap switch. You can splice it. You can bend these up at a 90-degree angle, and you can super glue it to the bottom of a car surface. So when you push that tab, it's a very good switch. I highly recommend these tap switches. They're well worth the money, and they beat the hell out of toggles. Toggles look like crap. You can pick those up on the web. I had to look at all this stuff on the web. Policecarmodels.com is one of them. But do your own research, because you guys can find this stuff. I found it within about, I don't know, an hour, you know, at most. But you've got to remove these lenses. Then you've got to drill where your light's going to go. Then you have to affix the pieces back onto the car. I'm running low on my battery, so I'm going to go ahead and get ready to quit here. But when you go to drill on these, if you're working with a vector light bar, one thing I found out, where is that light bar? Make sure you know where everything is. This light, and this light are not part. What they do is they hold on. You can take these off. You have to use your soldering iron first to just kind of melt the tabs a little bit. But these hold on your light bar. Let's see, is it the last one? There you go. It is, no, it's the third one. So this light bar comes apart. So you can set this aside because it's fine. Then you've got something to work with here. So you can drill these holes, then you use this as a template. Make sure that you use a bit that's going to go through die-cast metal. Try not to get try not to drill these tabs off. You want to keep these tabs because they're gonna, you know, the bar's gonna go back on the car. This isn't perfect, but it's good enough for me. But you put it on like this, you use a small bit, you drill through, you mark your holes, then you take it out, you put masking tape over the top of here, then you take a drill bit slowly onto the masking tape. Once you've started working in with this in place, making sure that you don't over torque and rip this thing off, then you drill straight down. This one you drill straight down the middle, you're going to hit that little GPS thing. When you hit it, it's going to come off because it's just glued on. So you're going to drill right down to it, and it's going to knock it off. And it'll come out unscathed. But anyway, you get that all done, and you've got a nice shell for the car. These lights back here, you lift the hood up, you go from the back side, you take some pins or some clippers, you snap the pins on here. These two you really can't, so you take your hot soldering iron tip and you melt it just enough to be able to take it off and to be able to slip it off. And it just comes off like this. You don't need to, you know, unless you're really advanced, if this is the first car you're doing, and this is what this video is meant for. This isn't meant for guys who are pros. This is meant for guys who are doing this at the first time and just would like to have a cool car. You line your drill bit up. This hole's already drilled. You drill through here. You enlarge the holes so you can get this 3 millimeter light up to it. Then on this, you just leave it. You could drill a hole that's a little bit bigger, but it's still going to show when you have your lens on. But you're going to have to take your lenses, your rear tail lenses, and you're going to have to snap. Well, at least I did. Maybe you don't. If you don't, tell me. You guys who are pros doing this. I'm just doing this for guys that are just starting out, because that's what I am. And I really, you know, I'm just learning as I go. Now, I probably did the wrong thing and I snapped those pieces off, but I think that they will go on better. And I think they will emit the light a lot better. By the way, this stuff is just paint, and it will come off if you use any kind of, you know, harsh cleaner on it. Don't do that. If you do, there's stuff that's called TAMIYA. It's translucent paint. I have red and I have blue. You can get it in all different colors. You can even get smoke color. So the lights are still going to shine through just fine. But translucent paint is very, very nice to have. This is about $3.50. I don't know, it could be more than that, but I think it was $3.50 a piece. Well worth it. It's very good. It's acrylic. And it's just what it should be. Anyway, I'm 27 minutes in. I don't want to go too far on this, but once you get this back on, you can put a dot of super glue right here. You can affix the lenses. You're still going to get the light emitted through the gap right here. You can enlarge that if you want a larger hole, but you've got to be very careful not to snap this. But then you glue this back in place, and you have a good, oh, also on here, you've got to go through use a hot iron tip, slip that off. These lenses come off. It's a two-piece lens. You've got the reflective, then you've got the plastic that's clear. Remove them, drill a hole through the back so you can have the light shining through it. Put it back on, super glue it, and now you've got the car ready to wire. That's the easy part. But those are the tips that I got. Those are the things that I've learned just as I've been going. And I'm just learning how to do this. But this light bar goes together a whole lot better if you take it apart. It's meant to take apart. It's modular. I didn't realize that. I made a lot of mistakes on the first car. I don't want to see anybody make mistakes. Well, they're going to make mistakes. I'm going to still make mistakes. But I'd like to see them minimized. because it's a real bummer when you've got a $35 car you're working on, or a Starsky and Hutch car that's an $80 car and you make a mistake on it. It's a real drag and it can ruin your night. So don't do that. You know, do the best you can, and you know, then you can put this light bar back on. Or you can also, you know, they make all kinds of parts. You can also get a replacement light bar that's a flat light bar that will fit on the Motormax. It has a lens, and you can use that instead. But if you do use that, you've got to go straight across instead of, you know, in the direction of all this. The traffic indicator, I don't know how to do. I've seen that done, but I believe that that's a completely custom-made circuit board driven light bar that runs about $65. Very expensive, and you know, very, very cool, but you know, you got to use what you can afford, and I can't afford to go that high. I did put the prisoner cage in this one. This came off the white car. I think it looks better in a squad car, so I'm going to go ahead and use it on that. I did drill a hole right through here for the console. That's going to go up and it's going to shine against the radio. And I already told you about the dash. But so you've got, oh, also if you want to put rear deck lights in, make sure that you don't go like I did. You go too far back. Drill them up towards the front. Don't drill them towards the back. You can get one back there, but this one is going to run into a bar that runs right along here that hinges the trunk area. So that plate is going to get in your way. I made that mistake twice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a reflective surface on this. I'm going to bend the lights forward. I'm going to have them shine back, which is how they should be anyway, instead of going just straight up like in the other car. But I am going to drill these closer to the front on these two. I'm going to bend these back, so those will be red and blue and red and blue. At least I believe they will. And they may be yellow, flashing amber. But anyway, that's kind of the steps that you need to go through and things you need to watch. Just some of them, not all of them. Oh, by the way, when you put this car together, be careful the way you put it together. This stuff isn't perfect, but you don't need to take the seats out unless you really want to. I wouldn't do it. Don't put the car together until you've got the console. Not the console, but until you've got the steering assembly in. Make sure you do that first, because I've done that and it screwed it up. Anyway, guys, that's just some tips that I learned. If you guys have any better tips, have any suggestions, have any kind of hints that you want to share, by all means, share them. You know, definitely share them. I just need to re-glue that now. The prisoner cage, actually, I hot glued onto here, and that's really the way it was when it came from the factory. But when it hit my knees and I closed my knees together, it goes to the back seats. There's two slots right here. Those are how they slide in. But when you remove this from, you know, the white car, when I removed it from the white car, I had to go through these slots. So, but the glue works pretty good, hot glue. But yeah, if you guys have any ideas, any hints, any things like that, on how to wire the car from here, I'm all ears, because, you know, I mean, I have a lot of problems with minute little things like this. I'm not very good at it, but I'm learning. And you know, when you're able to make something light up and come to life, it's kind of cool. And you know, it's really not bad. And once you kind of get used to it, it's like driving, you know, it's like riding a bike. But the wheels and all that, this is a long video, but I think, I think a lot of people won't appreciate it, but I do believe that, the people who are making these cars for the first time probably will appreciate it. And if you don't, well, don't know what to tell you. But, I've made mistakes on cars, and this is what I've learned. So I'm trying to give you, some tips. If you want to find all the little pieces and, all the little things, eBay is your friend, Google is your friend, policecarmodels.com is your friend. Make sure that goes down flush. Put the lenses in and wire the car. Make sure that when you put this together that you've got this steering column. Make sure it does not snap, because it can. So make sure that you've got this turned properly, lined up even with the wheels the way they should be. I'm just setting the car here like that just to set it and call it good for this video. But as far as wiring and stuff like that, you guys are on your own on that, because you do not want to hear all the cuss words that are going to be flying out of my head when it comes to that. But keep your stuff clean, keep it organized, make sure you know where the stuff is, and hopefully your model car build will go very well. I hope it does. Like I said, I'm just learning this stuff. There's guys who know how to do this, who have circuit boards, who build this stuff all the time. Their cars are just absolutely killer. All I'm trying to do is just light up a car. And those are the little tricks that I've learned just as I've gone. And I'm not saying I know how to do these cars real well. I don't. But, at the same time, I think I can do enough to get by. The spotlights you can drill out from the back. And you can run wires up through the door, through the inside of the door channel. It won't look great, but I'd use a 1.8 millimeter LED, or you could use the 3. But the mirrors are kind of difficult, and I'm not going to do mirrors. But I think I might try to do the spots. I did say I was going to do that in the other video. I have done that to one car, to the car that is actually the copy of this car that just did not go well, and I'm not going to use it. But I did learn how to do the spotlights on it. So from all that stuff I'm learning. And if you guys have any any hints, tips, of how to wire and how to do things like that, or how, what shortcuts I'm missing, or what shortcuts would be good, ideas, always welcome. Take it easy, guys. Later on. Damn, this is a long video. It's take days to upload. But you guys can, sit, turn it off, go somewhere, do whatever you need to, come back. But I'm just telling you, that's the stuff that I've learned. Yeah, it's a 40-minute video. Yeah, it's ridiculously long, but deal with it. Take it easy, guys. Good luck on your building. Later on.